Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome, Angela M. Thank you so much for being here first. And hello to everyone else. And let's get into it, shall we? Well. If it isn't the consequences of my own actions, support for the Royals is now just 45%, according to Republic, and they have paid for polls before. The big difference is their polls are not about emotional support. Their polls are simply the truth, um, based on sound scientific information gathering, taking a cross section of society, crunching those numbers, and coming up with 45%. How interesting and how truthful it probably is. No longer can Charles and company claim that claim they have majority support. The tide is turning. The tide is turning. So, don't know what this means. Truth is, you would expect there would be more protests, but most people just can't be bothered. Um, there's the silent majority, and every society has a silent majority. But what really gets attention is when that very vocal minority of people take to the streets. Um, that is one way to get respect. So, long as it's done without violence, that's all I care about. We don't need any more violence in this world. Violence is not the answer, it's a symptom, but it's not the answer. Hello, Mary H. Uh, when Daniels, Miss Z is here. Thank you for so much for being here. Compton Cali Gal. Deeply betrayed. Prince William unlikely to meet Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, during the UK during trip to UK next month. Was there any likelihood that that was going to happen? Um, Also, it really isn't complete until we hear about how angry and triggered that William is. I almost forgot that that was a thing because I think it's been a minute since William has been um, angry about something. You know what I mean? It's been a minute, but we're back again. We're back at that very familiar place where if there's any mention of Prince Harry, especially in regards to um, Harry and Charles III, then suddenly everybody is concerned about how William feels, what William thinks. I wish, I really do wish, but I guess maybe I should just leave it alone because it's not to my detriment, it's detrimental to William. But it's silly. It's silly, and I hate that I see it from time to time. But I do wish someone would say, to them, "Hey, this is not the um, the face of a winner. It's desperate. If you have to keep telling people how angry you are, then you're being desperate. It's a desperate ploy for attention." And it's the worst possible way to ask for attention is to tell people how upset you are. I mean, you either act or you don't. And in this case, that's about as big as it gets. Is just that he has to inform people that he's angry. He leaks it or releases that information drip by drip through his courtiers. It does not look good for him. I don't know anyone who's ever been considered moody, angry all the time, a hothead. I don't know anyone that that's ever been helpful to or for or with. Anyway, I don't know that it's helpful, but that seems to be the way he likes to play it, is to make sure that words gets out there that he is not happy. What are we supposed to, I mean, what do we even do with that? Where does that go? How does that how is that supposed to affect the outcome? I really am curious to know, how is that supposed to affect the outcome? It's like a temper tantrum, and his staff, his courtiers, are helping him throw a tantrum. Or am I reading too much into it? Yeah, I I'm gonna stick with that one. I feel like it's a temper tantrum. It's a way of making something about yourself. It's like he wants to make sure that he gets his um, bit of attention out of it, because it has nothing to do with him. He has to make sure that he keeps his name somewhere close to the middle. Yeah, that's maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. It's irritating though. It's like that villain in a slasher movie that just will not lay down. Right? Which one of those movies did, was it Jason or whichever it was? One of the one of the victims smashed him over the head with a television, and the electricity, electrocutes this monster. And of course, instead of running like hell, they're trying to gather themselves. And then next thing you know, one of the fingers lift up. Then one of the feet kind of one of the something moves to let you know that the monster is still alive. That's William. Just when you think he's out the picture, like the villain he is, he just keeps coming back. I mean, I had even forgot about the idea. I didn't think about it. Will Harry see his brother? I didn't care. He is not part of it. I did not suspect if there would even be a chance that Harry would meet his brother, and likewise, he wouldn't want to meet Harry. So, since he has no intentions on participating with whatever may or may not happen, in order to keep his name in it, he has to release some type of, or leak some type of information reminding people that he's using his default setting. He's angry. Yeah, that's what I'm getting from that, is that he's going to he's going to act as though he's been slighted in some kind of way, and he's going to play the anger card. Yeah, the anger card. Kavan Slim says, "Who asked about William?" Thanks for the super chat. I don't think anybody asked. I think they just one of his people probably um you know what? Maybe because they didn't see William's name within that first 24 hours, maybe they decided that they would make a phone call and tell one of their people on the inside of GB News or whoever started it first that William feels like this or that. And that maybe that's how that started. I honestly didn't even think about William. All I could think about was the kids in the UK and possibly a meeting with Charles and the grandkids. Um, who knows if Meghan will be present? We're not even sure for certain that they're going. So let's make sure we recall that BBC announced that it was going to happen or that it's possible, but still we have not gotten any confirmation from Harry and Meghan, at least not that I'm aware of. Whatever's going to happen is still in the logistics phase. So, and during this planning, because of that statement, or not statement, but that leak that William is angry, who knows if it'll even happen at this point. And not just because of William, but just because. But someone on the inside is going to do something to try to sabotage it, I'm sure. One of the ways that they try to ruin it is by claiming that Harry and Meghan's people were the ones who leaked the possible meeting. You notice a lot of times that they will leak information and then blame the Sussexes. They'll say someone from close to the Sussexes were the ones who leaked it, and they'll say that the Sussexes leaked it so that they could use it as a what do you call it? As a way to force, yeah, as a way to kind of force the meeting into happening. That they would use it for leverage. That's the word I'm looking for. That by putting it out there to the public, that there would be so much overwhelming support for the notion of it that the palace will decide to go with the public sentiment, and for that reason it'll happen. But I don't know, the palace is kind of stubborn. They're very stubborn. They don't mind doing things backwards. So, oh man, this is really interesting because it took an otherwise boring week. What would have been a very quiet week is pregnant with possibilities, right? Kevon, you say, a part of me wants to see Meghan and the kids in the UK, but there's also a part that wants this story to be false just to see the disappointment on that vile media over there. Thank you for the super chat. I understand that. I understand that. I would love to see the media get worked up and then have the rug pulled from beneath them, because they got so desperate before the coronation where they were less like, tell us if you could. But at that time, they weren't just upset about um, whether or not Meghan would come, but it also had to do with whether Harry was going to go, because they weren't sure anyone was going to show up. So yeah, they got pretty desperate because they wanted to plan accordingly. So yeah, I'm with you. Um, I kind of want to see, um, you know, okay. I want them to go, but I want to make sure that it's what's best for them and not what I'm personally feeling. Truth is, wherever they go, whatever they do, I just like to see them outside and doing stuff. So I'm trying to not be selfish and make it about what's appealing to me and make it more about what's best for their family. But if it were up to me, I would lean toward, oh, please go. Please go. Show those people how to dress. Please go. So, yeah, I'm kind of selfish where that's concerned. I just want to see the Sussexes. Well, and also, I want them to have the full security. I want them to have the motorcade with the police and all that kind of stuff. I want all of the bells and whistles to ensure their safety. And even with all of that, we still don't know if we're going to see the kids. We don't know if we're going to see the kids. There may be a private meeting, and they may schedule themselves to go places where they are not exposed to the lenses of the paparazzi or photographers or whatever. Doesn't mean that they're going to have any kind of official engagements. The kids may be tucked away safely someplace. And also, wouldn't it be surprising if we found out that they have a property over there? Remember, you heard me say this first, and I have no evidence to back that up. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be interesting if we found out that the Sussexes have already purchased a property and maybe they were just going to wait and close on the deal once the security thing got worked out? Wouldn't that be interesting? Now, what would shock me? This is the one thing that would shock me. What would shock me is if they took residence at one of the Crown Estate properties. If they took residence on any of the Crown Estate, or even something of within this owned directly by Charles, that would shock me. If they took up residence after all we've been through with Frogmore Cottage, it would shock me if they took up residence at any of the castles or palaces or halls or something like that. That would be shocking. But just remember, you heard it from me first, that it would be very interesting if they purchased the property, one, or number two, if they are actually going to take up residence in one of the royal properties. Also, I just want to remind you guys that as far as the children's education is concerned, and this is a real long shot, but we don't know whether the Sussexes prefer their children receive their education in the UK or whether their education is going to be based in the States. We don't know that. Now, there's a fine tradition of English boarding schools, but then again, the elites in the U.S. have their idea of higher education. Meghan is in the right zip code for her kids to go to a really good school. So, yeah, where they'll end up is probably going to have a lot to do with the kids' education. They may stay exactly where they are, or they may need a second property. It's a lot of possibilities, you guys. How old is Archie? Archie's like what, 5 now? 6? 5? Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities, you guys. Is this going to somehow tie into their future or the future of the children's education? Are we testing the waters? Or will we find out that they're not going at all? I would say by now, if they're not going, then there would be an official statement saying that they're not going. Okay? Think about that. The longer we are into this question of them going, if there's no official statement to the contrary, then we may as well assume that they're going. Okay? They've had over 48 hours to say, we ain't going, right? But that has not happened yet. Or does anybody know of something and I missed it? They either purchased the property or will be given a property in Althorpe. Thank you, Kavan Slims. Now, that one, that would be a long shot. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Althorpe, the ancestral home of the Spencers, the Earl Spencer may not want that attention on his property. Now, it was claimed in the past that Diana wanted to come home to Althorpe, but she was refused by the Earl because he didn't want that attention. He didn't want to draw the media. So if that is true, then there's an excellent chance that he would say no. And it's even a better chance that the Sussexes may have not asked for a place there at all, because if they were to stay on the Althorpe estate, I don't know that they have any cottages or outhouses or anything like that. I know that there's two main buildings. There's the house that we're more familiar with, but then at the property, there seems to be another older house that is close by that I've never knew what that house was about. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Let me see. Althorpe Estate, 2 houses. Yeah, there's a second house. And you can see it clearly. Historic houses. Let me see. Spencer Althorpe. Let me see here. A map of the Althorpe estate. Oh, okay. That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe that other one is a stable. Maybe that's a stable. But I'm going to show you an aerial view, if you don't mind. I'm going to show you an aerial view, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But I've never known what the other property was for. Okay. I never knew love like this before. Now I'm lonely evermore since you came into my life. Once I was lost and now I'm found. Then you turned my world around. When I need, I call your name. 'Cause I never knew love like this before. Open my eyes, 'cause I never knew love like this before. What a surprise. Okay. I used to love that song. See there? Now, the main house is the one kind of toward the top of the picture. And then what is that one on the bottom left? What is that? Is that the stables or what? Ooh, this feeling so deep inside of me. Just a fantasy. I'm thinking that's the stables. It kind of looks like another house, but yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Althorp is going to be closed during the week, coincidentally in July. Shut the front door. Oh, am I the only one that doesn't know about that? Hey, Sussex Team Warrior, thank you for joining us. Oh, Archie is 7? God, where have I been? Yes, but think about it though. Until we hear the Sussexes say we ain't going back, then every day is going to seem more and more a sure thing. Charles Spencer won a court case because he didn't deny. Okay, thank you, Heather Stroud. I do recall that Charles Spencer, um, I do recall that. Thank you so much for the reminder. You guys, I could not do this work without you because you all are so full of information. Cause I never knew love like this before. What a surprise. Never, never knew love. I never knew, never. That's Stephanie Mills. God, I love that song. I don't know why it just kind of came to me just now. Let's see. Heather Stroud says, I think Charles Spencer's visits Montecito and his marriage, I would bet he would have been there. Interesting. I am very intrigued about this. So Elizabeth Solaru says, Althorp is going to be closed during the week, coincidentally in July. Wow. Oh, you guys, you have got my head spinning now. Huh. Hmm. Uh okay, several reasons why this story is running. So much is it money maker, so much of it is a money maker for them, maker for them, the banana. You're talking about the lady in yellow got boo. The banana, the very bony banana. Mm, you guys, I ugh, this is becoming interesting all of a sudden. Let's see. Kaban says, I hope the palace and the media understand that that naive girl who joined the family in 2018 is no more. You tell them. Thank you for the super chat. You tell them. Hazel Jones, thank you for being here. Yes, that naive girl no longer exists. There's a sophisticated woman of the world. Who run the world? Girls. Who runs the world? Girls. Okay. Okay. Well, this has gotten very interesting all of a sudden. How can I be sure in a world that's constantly changing? Let me see. Althorp State closed for July. Independence Day closure. No, not for here. I said Althorp, not outdoor. Okay. Althorp Estate, a historic childhood home and resting place for Princess Diana, is actually open to the public throughout July and August. It does not close for an entire month. Uh, it is strictly closed for two specific days, July 10th and the 11th. Because the estate operates on a limited annual summer window, it's essential to plan your trip around these closures. Okay, so I see that. The 10th and the 11th, they will be closed. You know what, guys? I'm going to tell you how powerful Nelson Mandela was. When Nelson Mandela said he wanted to visit Diana's grave, did they not put a bridge? They put a bridge across that pond so that Mandela could walk over. They literally put a bridge in place. Now, you know, you got the juice when you can just say, I want to go and visit Diana's grave. And next thing you know, they have put a temporary bridge so that you could walk over to the island. Now, that's clout. That is clout. Even if Harry's eyes are not fully opened, Meghan's are. Let's see. To take the children now instead of next year when they are older could mean Charles may not be here. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Well, you know what? As I was speaking about going to school in the UK, um, that type of long term royal protection, I just thought about that. If they haven't worked out things as far as that's, yeah, I guess it's not a big likelihood that the kids would go to school there. But anything is possible. Anything is possible. Oh, it's time for King Charles to do right by his son. King Charles needs to fix the family. Time is of the essence. I agree with that. What's that about a pulled pork sandwich? Okay, if he would just speak candidly about his love of pulled pork sandwiches, then we can all relax. I get that. Let's see. Hello, all. It's been a while. Love you all. Thank you so much. Love you too. How many times does Charles have to let Harry know that he doesn't care? Yeah, Charles is not very warm. I'll say that. He doesn't seem to be the very warm type. Okay, I'm going to move on to the Obamas. If that's okay with you guys, I'm going to move on to the Obamas. I don't have a whole lot to say, but this is that Yeah, now that I think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It would be complicated. And if the kids were to go to school there, then that means that they would have to relocate, and I don't see that happening. So that's not likely to happen. Okay, we have another that says the same thing. Oh, well, Ms. Z, let me see. The idea of the kids meeting their Spencer cousins while Harry and Meghan go set up things for Invictus. I like that. I like that. Although I don't want those children out of their sight for 5 minutes over there. Um, but if they have their nanny with them, if the nanny goes with them, then, I trust her. I trust her if they still have that same nanny. Also, I do hope that means that Doria would be there for the kids, just in case. Have Doria there. Wow, you guys, this is so much to think about, isn't it? Thank you so much for the super chat. This is so much to think about. Well, I speak of William and that 9-iron to the cranium all the time. And there's a good chance that, something happened to him, or he is self-medicating in some kind of way. uh Okay. All right. So let me get on to the Obamas. Again, I don't have a whole lot to share, but this is the complex. A lot of people believe it's just the building, right? But the tall tower, that beautiful marble clad monolith, is just part of it. There are lots of things that are underground or at such a low profile. They have used some green roof technology, so there's the maximum amount of green space possible. There's a nature trail. There's a visitor center. This is a pretty large part of, I believe it's Jackson Park. Yeah, I think that's Jackson Park. This is a pretty large part of the old Jackson Park. Now, this area was part of the fairgrounds for the 1893 World's Fair. And so the building with the dome that you see in the background, that is the Museum of Science and Industry. During the World's Fair of 1893, that was the Museum of Fine Arts. The reason why it's the only significant building that remains from the 1893 World's Fair is because, that being the art building, a art museum, they made it more like a bunker, as sturdy and solid as possible, whereas the other structures were temporary. So that is why that one survives. And it was the generous contribution of Julius Rosenwald of the Sears Corporation, Sears Roebucks. Julius Rosenwald helped to finance a permanent museum building. So they removed the stucco clad that was on the building and replaced it with limestone so that it would last throughout the ages. But beautiful building. If you ever get a chance to come to Chicago, that museum is very popular with children. It's very interactive and they will love it. But as I was saying, I believe that the cost of the Obama Center was $850 million, which is enough to build a high-rise building, really. But they had a lot of landscaping and a lot of infrastructure to build. So, and also to make it as green as possible. So the price was pretty high, but the result is this is going to be a place not just to talk about Barack Obama, but a place where you can visit, just to have a day out. And the Lake Michigan is just a stone's throw away. So you have that lagoon right there, and then Lake Michigan is further over to the right side of the picture. So it's a beautiful area. You can spend the day there. Yes, you guys, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I am going to go back and watch the entire ceremony from today because there were so many people there. And what was great is that the weather was perfect. People sat on the lawn to watch. Um, you guys, I don't like to tell people what to think or what not to think, but don't even pay attention to people saying that, oh, it looks like a garbage can. First of all, to really appreciate the building, you have to see it up close. And second of all, it's not just the building, the grounds are designed to give you nature. It is designed to flow, to be a place of peace and serenity. So it's one thing to look at it, but it's another thing to be up close. So I say, do have an open mind. No, I don't have a ticket, Raven. I do not have a ticket. However, I think I can pull some strings if I have to. I mean, I don't want to have to throw my weight around or anything like that. But I'm a smooth operator. I can get in that place if I want to, if I want to. But I'm not going to jump the queue. I'm going to wait patiently like everyone else. But if I choose to, if I choose to, I could get in there if I wanted to. But I don't like to show out. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to show out. I just like to. I'm like a dead fish. I just go with the flow. But anyway, oh man. Yeah, I don't like to show out, you guys. And also, there are going to be there I, okay, they do save space for groups, okay? So there will be people booking group tickets to get in that place, especially when school is back in session. There's going to be a lot of people trying to get in that place, uh, along with the field trips from the schools. But yeah, so again, that image is the Obamas walking in the inaugural parade, should I say. Very good statue. It really captures their image very well. Oh, thank you, Heather Stroud. It's a passion of mine. I love architecture. I even have books of architecture. Some of my favorites. What's his name? Benjamin Marshall, um, Charles Eli Fox. Actually, Fox and Marshall, they were partners at an architectural firm. And of course, Daniel Hudson Burnham and Frank Lloyd Wright. I got a beautiful book of Frank Lloyd Wright homes. Okay. And there is a group shot. Notice that there is one president and one first lady that is missing. Thank God. But anyway, you got the Bidens, the Obamas, the Bushes, and of course the Clintons. See how easy it is to be civil? The uncivilized Orange Menace was too busy losing a war. So, of course, he couldn't be there even if he wanted to. And also, I am loving that suit that Michelle is wearing. I'm loving that suit. I'm going to have to say that Michelle and Jill are the best dressed. Not that there's a competition, but I love their suits. They're very, very nice. Well, wow. Can you guys see the letters behind them? Behind them, you can see the letters from a speech that Barack Obama gave. Oh, there's what's his name? John. What is that man's name? Anyway, and there's um Jennifer Hudson and Stephen Colbert and what's his name? That guy. He sings. Lord, I can't remember his name. John Legend. You know, I kept saying to myself, John Challenger is Legend. Thank you. And his wife, what's her face? The one that used to be a model. Now she's an entrepreneur. I like Stephen Colbert's hair. I'd never seen it like that. And let's see, there's Oprah Winfrey and Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi and Doug Emhoff and Kamala Harris. And again, the Bidens blowing kisses. Tom Hanks, Valerie Jarrett. Oh, okay, John Legend and Common. And isn't that Christina Aguilera? Yes. You guys, and there was so many more people there. Also, Cindy McCain's wife, John McCain's wife, Cindy McCain, was there. She was in the crowd. A lot of VIPs were there. Of course, Al, what's his name? Reverend Al. He was there. Fortunately, they didn't let him give a speech. Is that right? Let's see. Oh, yes, I see that. Oh, yeah, Chrissy Teigen. Yeah, Chrissy Teigen. Thank you. What's her face? I am really getting bad with names, you guys. I'm getting so bad with names. And of course, a reunion of George Bush and his sweetheart, Michelle Obama. He gave her some Altoids. It all started when they were at a funeral. As you can see in the bottom left photo, And he kind of looked over at her, and then he offered her a candy in a very covert way. And since then, they have been best of friends. Actually, um, before that, they were at some event, and Michelle Obama gave him a big hug. Now, you guys, there were a lot of people that were very cross with George Bush. And Michelle Obama embracing him has done far more for him than it could have ever done for her, I could assure you. But Michelle Obama is not a spiteful, hateful person in the least bit. Although there are some people who do not like the fact that she cannot be around the occupant of the White House. But the occupant of the White House can be really detrimental to your mental health. Someone who has accused your husband of being a non citizen, and of course, some of the rhetoric that was used before he stole took that election, it's that type of rhetoric that can really get someone hurt, right? Which is why we're here today, is because if it was left unchecked, the world would not be very safe for um, the Sussexes, because words do matter. Words really do matter. Gosh, I wish, you know what? I was just listening to something earlier and I don't have it anymore, but it was a MAGA person who all of a sudden realized that he had made a huge mistake. And he realized that the rhetoric that he was using to dehumanize anyone who voted left or Democrat or liberal, he realized that he was in an echo chamber and he got most of his news from Fox News. And one day he just made a conscious effort to do half and half. And once he gravitated away from the Fox News and listened to a variety of people or news sources, then his disposition changed. And he realized that he was wrong about a lot of things. And I do hope more people will do that because we're running out of time. And before something really bad happens, there's got to be some kind of way to bring people together. And if giving Michelle Obama a box of Altoids will help in any way, I'm all for it. Good night, Sussex team warrior. Keep fighting the good fight. But yeah, it seemed like it was an extraordinary day, and I can't wait until I can go and see more of it. Zabeta, welcome. Okay, I want to see who else was there. Um, what are the name of some of the A-listers and celebrities that was at the opening of the Obama Presidential Center? Okay, I see some pictures here. Oh, Stevie Wonder was there. Bruce Springsteen. Let me see. Oh, the guy from Star Wars, the Luke Skywalker guy, he was there. Now I'm looking at Stephen Colbert's suit, and I can't stop seeing it. Thank you so much for telling me that. I had no idea. Okay. Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Wonder, Jennifer Hudson, John Legend, Christina Aguilera, Common, Tim's, whoever that is, Mark Anthony, Eddie Vedder, The Roots, Marsai Martin, and U2's Bono, and The Edge. So those are the people that appeared on stage, no doubt. But there was a whole lot of other people in the crowd. Okay. Oh, Melanie Hobson and George Lucas was there. See what I mean? And of course, Oprah and Gail. Gabrielle Union. You guys, Gabrielle Union was there. Interesting. I didn't see the mayor or the governor. Looks like David Letterman was there. You guys, I'm telling you, there were so many people that were there that definitely were not on the stage, but they were present. Well, I'm very happy for Barack Obama. Now, you guys, I had this fantasy some time ago that Harry and Meghan would be there for the opening, and that, I mean, before they broke ground. And I'm kind of bummed out that they were not there. I would have loved for them to have been there. Hey, Anne, Duchess of Success. Times are so desperate. You're happy to see George A. I know. We have gotten to that point where he has suddenly become acceptable. Because I remember when we thought he was the worst president ever. And now, after spending about $1 trillion, and well, anyway, um, the current occupant of the White House is somewhere with his tail in between his legs and his head down, signing a treaty of defeat. Yeah, you know, I don't like bullies, and I think killing a school of children, a school full of children, and killing a holy man, or the Ayatollah. Um, I think that that whole thing was off to a bad start, and it just went from bad to worse. It never should have happened. I am still shocked that they killed the Ayatollah. I just cannot believe it. I'm just like, did we do that with my tax money? And at the Palace of Versailles, that is where empires go to sign away their imperial something. Yeah, at the Palace of Versailles. How did you allow yourself to be photographed at the Palace of Flippin' Versailles, signing a surrender. Okay, now there was a speech yesterday, and I would like to share it with you again today, if it's okay with you all, guys. I'll share that one. And that was, well, anyway, you'll see. Yes, so that was from yesterday. And I wanted to show you that picture again on the left side where Barack Obama is holding hands with his mother in law. And she said she did that because he was on the verge of becoming the leader of the free world and he didn't have his parents there to share it with him. So she decided to step up, which I think is just absolutely incredible, very thoughtful. And it really goes to show that from start to finish, Michelle Obama, what was her name? Marion. She was not phased by the whole thing. It did not mean a whole lot to her. The one thing that she was looking forward to was going back to Chicago and being in her house and, being with her friends and everything. And Michelle Obama had to break the news to her, Ma, you're not going to ever be able to go back to that. You have to have a more secure life. You're not going to be able to just pop up in different places like that anymore. But she did come back to Chicago, and before she passed away, she was able to assume as much as her old life as possible, as much as security would allow. But just the same, she did have a chance to at least come back home to Chicago. So that was nice. But yeah, they wanted her at the White House because they wanted to make sure that there was someone present that the children could be accountable to whenever they were not around, someone who could help keep them grounded. And I mean, who better than grandma? So everything really worked out. Okay. So let me get back over to today's. V. Morgan, so glad to see you here. Yeah, Barack Obama, he was very tearful when he was speaking. You could kind of see his eyes welling up with tears when he was speaking about his mother-in-law. Like there on the right side, if you were able to zoom in, you could kind of see it. Okay. So, Althorpe House. This is one of those images that one of the squatties put together. And you can see there the perfect place to visit lies where dreams take flight with with winding paths and gardens bright, where laughter dances on the breeze and every moment puts your heart at ease. A place you'll treasure long after you leave. I would love to see this visit. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much into the Althorp as being a place of refuge in the UK for the Sussexes. I just got a feeling that that's not going to be the place. And of course, I'm pretty sure Harry and Meghan would not want to impose upon, you know, Uncle Uncle Charles. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second. Uncle Charles Spencer. Speaking of Spencer, check out the Spencer twins. They are chic and elegant at the Royal Ascot. She never had to respond. Time did it for her. This was posted by the notorious JTB. For years, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, was the headline. Now, some of her loudest critics are making headlines of their own. Meghan kept living her life. Time handled the rest. Okay, 3 snaps. All right. Yeah, Vanessa Feltz, blindsided as Channel 5 axes daytime show after 1 year. I'm surprised it took a year because that show was a big dud. I mean, a huge dud. And then, of course, there's Jeremy Clarkson reveals cancer diagnosis following emergency heart procedure and health concerns. Well, it says here some people spent years making Meghan the story. Now they themselves headline. Now they themselves becoming headlines. Anyway, the cosmic clapback. Yes, history has a long memory. Anyway, look who's in the dump. What a dump, as Betty Davis would say. What a dump. Oh, so long, darling. I like that. Yes, look who's in the dumpster, Vanessa Feltz. Now, there were warning signs. Like if you look on the left side, um, it says Vanessa Feltz, Channel 5 show on brink as ratings plunge amid crisis talks. And then on the right side, worrying time, Channel 5 bosses in crisis talks about future of Vanessa Feltz show just 2 months after launch. Well, if you guys recall, and by the way, that's that Liz Cundy, that person that's in the picture at the bottom right. That's the one who tries to give this impression that Meghan was her friend who dumped her once she met Harry, even though she has absolutely no pictures of the two of them together. None. And I believe that Meghan spoke to her on the red carpet and she was hoping to make a connection with Meghan. And that never happened. By the way, Liz was working the red carpet. She wasn't there on the red carpet. She wasn't walking the carpet. She had a microphone and she was working the red carpet. Meghan wasn't at work. She was being famous. But as for Liz, no, she was at work. Meghan met her while she was working. Anyway, she wants to believe that she and Meghan were friends and that Meghan dumped her. When Meghan wore that red dress last time and went to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, She went around telling people that Meghan crashed the party. Meghan was only there to take pictures. She didn't stay that long. People didn't seem to know who she was, and she didn't seem to know them, and that she seemed confused about what. Anyway, all of that was a lie. Meghan was the guest of honor who sat with the head of the hospital. Okay. The president of the hospital invited Meghan as his guest. They dined with each other in that room full of people. So she is a provocateur. And if that is the caliber of person that was invited to the show, no wonder the show was in the dumps. If that's the best you can do as Liz Cundy, then you don't deserve to have a show because she is as trashy as they get. Also, I want to remind you guys that when she launched her show, she was trying to um, play the happy homemaker. In other words, she was doing a parody of With Love Megan. And of course, it wasn't funny. It wasn't even cute. But she was doing this parody of With Love Megan. And that did not go very well for her. It just seemed silly to me. It wasn't funny. It wasn't cute. It was just silly and a waste of everybody's time. So, what can I say? Vanessa did not have the juice. She didn't have the staying power. And now she doesn't even have a show. From the day we arrive on this planet, blinking eyes, looking to the sun, there is more to see than's ever been seen, more to do than's ever been done. Anyway, the ancestors have dealt with Vanessa. Yes, it's a circle of life. And that's why your show has ended. Yes, the circle of life. The ancestors have spoken. And now Vanessa Feltz has been blindsided. Channel 5 bosses, um, as her daytime chat show is axed after just 1 year. Bye, girl. Bye. And do you all remember this recent moment when she was trying to catch him out? And oh, she was out of her league. I thought she was just out of her mind, but she was out of her league. And what she was trying to do backfired. Maybe that's the show that got her axed. Maybe. You know what, guys? Now that I think about it, I did go past the Obama house um, a few days ago, and I saw a bunch of police over there. So maybe that's what that was about. Maybe it was because they were in town. But it's a very secure area. They got cameras and such. And someone built a house next door. Someone built a house next door. They had a double lot, but the house next door has taken up that lot. Anyway, I want to find that exchange between Vanessa and France. What's his name? Because that was an epic takedown, or should I say, slap back. and I absolutely loved it. Oh my goodness, how far back do I have to go? Oh, is this it?
Gonna go up a few notches here. Viewers may have seen Tan hanging out with the Duchess of Sussex on her show with Love, Meghan. Let's have a look at this. Are you going to pick this up? Here, let me put it somewhere. Oh, fabulous! Make yourself.
Okay, I gotta forward it a little bit.
You're loud.
Oh, all nations are loud. We can't help it.
So what was going on? I mean, how did you come to be there? What was it like being there? Obviously, we want to know everything.
It was really strange. It was really strange. I can't believe I got asked to do it. They did season 1, and it was very successful for them. And they wanted other people from the Netflix family to come on board. And she had watched Queer Eye and was really fascinated by what I do on Queer Eye and asked if I would join. I had such a wonderful day. I couldn't believe I was asked, and I felt so honored to be there. I really did. The production is massive. I've never seen a larger production. And they treated me so beautifully. And she was so kind to me. And I'd never met her before then. And I thought, oh, she might be quite reserved. There's probably a certain way you can and can't be with her. But I was really particular before I went in. I said, I'm myself. I'm a northern boy. I'm from South Yorkshire and I don't know how to be fancy. And so I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to swear. I'm like, be whoever you want. I think that was quite jarring for everyone. There's a lot that got cut out.
And was she shocked by you, or was she amused, or both?
She wasn't shocked. It was surprised that no one talks to her the way I think I was speaking to her. I can't say hey because we're on live TV, but the way I would speak to my gay friends or my girlfriends, that's how I was talking to her. There was no filter. And I think she was just relieved that somebody was treating her like everybody else.
And what were you doing? Were you meant to be cooking, or was she meant to be cooking? What was meant to be happening?
I was meant to be teaching her how to make my mother-in-law's French toast. And then she was going to teach me a craft, which she did. And then in the evening, we went to the beach and had a lovely time there. It was a full 2 days of just, they treated me beautifully.
I mean, you live in the States now, so you may or may not know that there has been, tumultuous criticism of that show here.
Yeah.
Not on a serious level, but just because people felt, particularly the bit where she famously poured some pretzels into a bag and then tied a bow on the bag. I mean, that's not a sin, it's not a crime.
Yeah.
But people did feel, I think some people thought, oh, come on, talk about teaching us to suck eggs. We know how to pour pretzels into a bag. We probably know how to tie a bow, and none of us would want to. We could, but we don't want to. And, putting vegetables in rows and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it went over that way in the States or whether Americans liked it more than we liked it, or quite what.
So being from the UK but living in the US, I've been there for 20 years and I was here for 23 years. I think I understand both equally well. It was never going to be for the Brits. The Brits are too cynical. They just don't. They don't care about the whimsy. Like they're too busy getting on with real life. Like life's hard in England. They haven't got time to make a charcuterie board pretty. There's no reason.
Or biscuits for the guest dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the guest did look a bit surprised. Like, oh, they're biscuits for my dog.
But I wouldn't say
she looked thrilled.
But it's very American.
It's right. Hampton.
It's very Hampton.
Are you still friends with Meghan?
Yeah, we text. We have a sexual relationship.
How is she?
Lovely, really well. Yeah, really well.
Would you ever consider giving her fashion advice or styling her?
Do you know what? She dresses wicked. She doesn't need my advice. She's a really chic dresser. I like the way she dresses a lot. I won't give advice unless somebody asks, but even if she asks, there's nothing I could say. She usually looks fab.
Okay, all good, all lovely stuff. I'm going to talk about the play that you're producing a bit later.
See how shady she is? See how shady she is. And now she doesn't have a show. She didn't have to go on and on about the pretzels. She didn't have to go on and on about dog biscuits or anything like that. If you use that attitude, if you smirk and sigh and roll your eyes, speaking about what anybody does, no matter how innocuous it may be, of course, there are some people who are going to believe that it was just the most ridiculous thing to do. I'm pretty sure that there are people in the UK that craft at about the same rate as the people in the US. but there are a lot of people, even before social media, who enjoyed crafting. This is why Michael's, which is a craft store, this is why Michael's and Hobby Lobby have been making billions of dollars, because there are people who literally will buy things and work on projects just for the sheer joy of it, to create and present for their guests, especially around holidays. This is why a lot of people go to the Dollar Tree. They have people who have dedicated their whole social media platform to what you can do with things you pick up at the Dollar Tree. And for Vanessa to pretend like Meghan is this um, enigma, this anomaly that, for some bizarre reason, is obsessed with presenting things in a way that is beautiful, is so disingenuous. And I'm glad she lost her show. I hope she never makes it to television or any place else again. Tan France was absolutely stellar. And I'm glad that he put her in her place without having to hurt her feelings or anything. But, as he said, that most of the people that watch her show are probably too cynical to understand things like that. If things like that are just so silly, why is Martha Stewart a billionaire? Why is Martha Stewart a billionaire? That's what I'd like to know. Why is Martha Stewart a billionaire? And of course, my favorite part was when he observed Meghan and her flower sprinkles. uh, I love that. I'm glad they didn't cut that part out of it. I'm pretty sure that there was a lot of back and forth about whether or not to keep it. And then, of course, they went off to the sunset. Perfect, perfect day. Okay, let me get back over here. But yes, Vanessa, your show has failed, so go to hell. I hope you never work in television ever again. You don't deserve it. Oh, nice. See there? Yeah, they use their platform as evil altered, and the good Lord tear them down. And Vanessa's show is just the start. You know, at some point, Oprah Winfrey had decided that she wanted her show to have substance. And she took her show in a bold new direction where it was all about gratitude. She would talk about gratitude every day, which is something that I must say made an impact on me and millions of other people. Um, but people were watching Oprah because they wanted to feel good. They didn't watch Oprah to see someone pull a gotcha moment like that. Now there were a few shows where Oprah, I thought, may have reverted a bit to the, you know, shadier side of talk shows, but by and large, when she took her show in a positive direction, it didn't hurt her show at all. As a matter of fact, her show became legendary from that point on. So it just goes to show that if you do the right thing, that the blessings will come your way. Um, were they going to a funeral? And why does Edward look like he done stole his daddy's clothes? He looked like some little boy who went into his daddy's closet. That suit is swimming on him. He's swimming inside that suit. Well, gosh, I hope he's not ill. I mean, there's a chance that there could be something wrong with him. Don't know, but that looks very strange. Now, I have to say, I don't hate that dress that her pudginess is wearing. I do not hate that dress. I think it's kind of nice for a change. Yeah. Sophie, I like that dress. I mean, I can't really see the details so much, but it looks nice on her, that's for sure. So I'm going to say she did a good job this time. I'm actually going to pay her a compliment. Okay, I'm zooming into it on my other screen here. I don't hate it. I think it's nice. And it looks good on her with her shady ass. But it looks good on her. God, I can't stand her. But I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. That's a good look for her. I think you're right about that. Almost as a rule. What is going on here? Andrew Parker Bowles is Camilla Parker Bowles' first husband. And then, of course, they got a divorce and she couldn't wait to marry Charles. Now, Afro Annie, I hope I get this right. Afro Annie used to date Andrew Parker Bowles, and Charles was running around dating Camilla. And then when Camilla knew that she was not suitable to become the Princess of Wales, she went ahead and married Andrew, and Charles married Diana, even though he did not really care for her like that, but he was fulfilling his duty. And unfortunately, she was pulled into something pretty atrocious, right? She was groomed to become the future Princess of Wales. And then eventually, due to irreconcilable differences, Charles and Diana split, and he couldn't wait to get back over to Camilla. So, yes. So, here's a recap. Princess Anne was dating Andrew Parker Bowles, and Camilla was dating Charles. But then Andrew and Camilla married, and according to the Crown, it was well known that she was still having an affair with Charlie Windsor. So much so that Charles could call at any time, day or night, and they would just give her the phone, knowing that there was some hanky-panky going on. Let me see. Afro Ann husband rather have Sarah Ferguson's. Oh, they nasty. They are nasty. What disgusting people they are. I think Royal Ascot would be a lot of fun. That and of course the Kentucky Derby. Those are great places to see and be seen. You know, there was a black tie affair. They had some charity ball in Chicago for years, and I always wanted to go, and I never went. There was a company called Finkel Steel, and Finkel Steel would take scrap metal and forge it into, steel or whatever. Um, they would make little ingots and stuff so other companies could use it. But anyway, they were in business for a long time. And every year they would close down the shop and they would have this black tie affair inside of this commercial building with all of the big heavy chains and um, all that kind of stuff. It was quite the juxtaposition to see all of these elegantly dressed people going inside of this cruddy looking industrial building. But I never did go to it and I always wanted to go. But that was like the height of the social season throughout the summer was to go to that Finkel Steel black tie affair. Or at least one of the best parts of it. But Finkel Steel is gone and that area has been redeveloped. You guys, there are so much properties along the Chicago River where there used to be lots of heavy industry. Well, now that all of that stuff is gone, there is quite the opportunity for real estate people who might want to live by the river. Otherwise, the only place people who ever really lived along the river were in some of the more obscure neighborhoods. And then also downtown, of course, the famous river uh, in the downtown area. But they call the river our second waterfront because it's under development. And yeah, it should be pretty special whenever they're, in the next 10 or 20 years. But if you guys come to Chicago, do make sure you take the river tour. Take the river architectural tour. You won't be sorry. I bet it seems like I do that all the time. I have not taken that river tour since the 1980s, but I am going to do it this year at some point, which I've been saying for the past 10 years. So there you go. There's Andrew and Camilla. And there they are on their wedding day. And one thing is for sure, she's always had that Hepsburg jaw, that Hepsburg chin. She's always had that kind of a Hepsburg appearance, right? And it's a good thing she got such a big jaw and chin because that's something that Andrew doesn't seem to have anymore. He lost his sometime. Actually, he never really did have one. That's interesting that they married and yet she's the one with the strong facial features, but it helps to balance them. It helps to balance them out, right? Also, if they ever got into some kind of a hostage situation, it's very clear that he should try to go and get help while she finished the would-be assailants off. You know, headbutting them and hitting them with her chin and such. What the hell am I talking about? Anyway, pay no attention to me. Uh, oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess that worked out. Plus, there's a nice little trust fund for um, Camilla's kids. Oh yeah, they're always hopping in and out of each other's beds. Oh, okay. Didn't have to pay him, huh? Interesting. Now, Celibacy, Princess Kate stayed subdued at Ascot while Carol Middleton looked drunk. Yes, Carol Middleton looked a bit drunk, according to Celibacy. Let's see. Here are more photos of the Prince and Princess of Wales at Ascot Day 2. Kate repeated the bright yellow Roxanda dress, but added a very, oh, hold on a second. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, she added a very large new hat. She looked fine at Trooping the Colors and Garter Day. Her icy glare was raging, but she seems more chilled out at Ascot, considering it was Kate's first time at Ascot since 2023. Remember, she didn't go last year. Last year, she just didn't feel like it. She actually seemed pretty comfortable. Hello Magazine even had footage of Kate dropping into two curtsies for King Charles and Camilla. Camilla looked like she was bitching out Kate, though. Um, I wonder if Carol Middleton's presence at Ascot was good or bad for Kate. We know she was super close to her mother, who probably picked out Kate's Ascot outfit the night before. We also know that Kate warmly greeted Carol and Alize the Vinet in the royal box. But Carol was socializing in the royal box without her daughter. And let me tell you, Carol once again got drunk as a skunk. She Her bleary eyes really tell the story. To me, at least, at one point, Carol was chatting with Lady Sarah Chato, and Carol actually put her peasant hands on Lady Sarah's face. I don't know a lot about etiquette, but I would never touch someone's face at an event like this. You know what? Let me show you the picture. It did seem kind of awkward, but let me show you the picture. Oh, you know what? I know what I got to do. I got to get the picture over to you. Yeah, her mom just kind of put her hand on her face. Now, what in the world could you have been talking about that was necessary? God only knows. Oh, where did my picture go? Hold on, you guys. Let me do this. All right. Okay, for some reason. Where's the darn photo? Okay, here it comes. Well, there we go. See what I mean? Now, that is Lady Sarah Chatto, which is the daughter of Princess Margaret, I think, right? That's Princess Margaret's daughter. And for whatever reason, um, Our Lady of Sobriety decided to put her hands on her face. That is something that you don't see that, especially at an event like this. I don't know, it just seemed weird for some reason. I mean, I'm not trying to sell the idea that anybody's more important than the next person, but why do you have your hands on Lady Sarah's face? It just seemed like she was getting very familiar with people. Anyways, Celibici says, I don't know a lot about etiquette, but I would never touch someone's face at an event like this. I also think it's interesting that Carol now makes regular public appearances at Ascot, Wimbledon, and other public events without her husband. Over the years, we've heard some rumors about Carol and Mike's marriage struggles, but I think they're staying together for the sake of Kate's future queen consort role. Yeah, that is weird. Why are you touching another grown woman's face? Oh, you think that's why? Because she got booed? Well, anyway, it looked very strange. But there we go. Now that's the picture I shared yesterday. You can see the look of determination. It's almost like this guy is teasing her, like, do you want wine? Do you want wine? What's in it for me? Huh? Do you want wine? What's in it for me? And then at some point, it seems like her daughter came to put her mother in her place. You see that? It looks as though Well, anyway, I'll let you see for yourself. Do you see that? Did you see the way she was walking? I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like somebody came to rescue her mother before she embarrassed herself. Yeah. It looks like somebody's mama is in a state of disgrace. By the way, thank you, SK, for sharing this. Hmm. Not another glass. Do you understand me? Not another glass. Yeah. I mean, look at that. It looks like someone has scolded their mother. And there's her mama sitting up there with her fists all balled up. Jeez. Don't you wonder what happened? I do. Yeah, it seems like she had to tell her mother off. But like I was saying, um, I think there's something wrong with her. I think that she's got a bad case of the Queen Mother. She has a really bad case of the Queen Mother. I think this was last year, was it? But look at her. That woman looks wasted, allegedly. She looks wasted. When she has a few drinks down, it appears, I'm alleging that she appears to get a little animated. And she started doing funny stuff with her face. She's got like facial tics that seem to evolve over time, right? It seems like over time, as the evening progresses and the drinks are flowing, at some point she starts getting that facial tic. But I think she gets a bit familiar. Maybe that's what they like about her. Well, I mean, take a look there. Anne and Camilla seem to have had their fill of her. And when Camilla walked away, she seemed none too happy with her. Look at Anne trying not to catch her gaze. And Camilla clenching her teeth. Lord have mercy. Not a good day for her. Not a good day. Yeah, they're going to have a intervention. They're going to have to do an intervention. Otherwise, she may not even be welcomed at the coronation. And she put her hands on that woman's face. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, well, if she's not there next year, we'll know why. What'd you say? The daughter being the mother. Well, that is interesting, huh? I wanted to share it with you because I wasn't sure what I was looking at. Well, I'm pretty sure next year she'll be on her best behavior. But the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, does it? Remember when someone tried to get me in trouble because I posted that thing there? Kate Middleton has significantly scaled back on her alcohol following her cancer diagnosis. Since my diagnosis, she says, I haven't had much alcohol. It's something I have to be a lot more conscious of now. The Princess of Wales, who announced she was in remission, made a comment after being offered a pint, and she subsequently joked with Prince William, saying, "But you like cider?" And then I went on to mention a ship listing to port means it's leaning or tilting to the left side. Heavy drinkers frequently experience balance issues. The relationship between alcohol and stability is well documented, affecting individuals both during intoxication and potentially causing long term irreversible damage. Now, I posted that, and one of those derangers forwarded or tried to link it to some other accounts, saying that someone ought to look into this. And I'm just like, what did I say? I was just adding some necessary information for public consumption. uh, but still, how is it that Kate is leaning like that and didn't even fall into the car? You see what I'm saying? It's almost like magic. She's listing about 15 degrees. Now, that's something that only a hardcore alcoholic can do. Not to say that she's an alcoholic, but if she was an alcoholic, then that would explain how she was able to do that without tipping over. I mean, I get dizzy just looking at it. Oh, the shade, the shade, the shade, the shade. You're welcome. Oh, that was June the 1st. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah, that person thought they were getting me in trouble. I'm like, not even. I've done nothing wrong. Besides, don't blame me. I'm not the one with a problem. uh, And yes, she has worn that dress before. That's one of the Wimbledon dresses. She just added that strange fishnet hat and anyway, she's worn that one before. She looks pretty though. I think that's one of her best looks. Elegant, simple, just like her. Very simple. The bubbles in the royal box at Ascot must be some strong stuff. Carol appears to be liquid happy, but then again, to be fair, I would be happy too if I got away without paying 2.6 million worth of debts. Did Kate tell her mama off for being too giddy? Watch till the end. She didn't look happy when she took her in the back. Mama's future queen almost walked into the wall. Her hat kissed it. Oh, okay. I didn't notice that, but if you say so. Now, this idiot right here finally get to see what the children actually look like. And if there's any facial disabilities, we'll get to see it because he's been hiding for years, doesn't he? Now that's what's his name? Oh gosh, what is that guy's name? Anyway, he made a video saying that finally we'll get a chance to see what the Sussex children look like. That was very, very stupid. That was very stupid. Didn't he lose a job or something like that for messing with Meghan? For saying something about Meghan? Oh, he was demonetized. Either that or they took his channel down, something like that. But as you can see, he's still at it. They need to leave the kids alone. All the kids. The kids should be off. What is it? They should be off the table. No one should be discussing anything about the Sussex kids or those other kids. Leave those kids alone. I know, Miss C. I know. But that's what he said. When they first posted those pictures of Lily, oh my God, the comments. Those derangers are so hateful. I can't even repeat some of the stuff that they said. It's too hurtful. Okay, I accidentally posted their picture twice. Wow, Prince William has donated a whole £1,000 to campaign group which wants to save their local pubs. Well, that should go a long way, shouldn't it? £1,000. He should at least be able to save one pub for like 2 weeks, maybe. Maybe they can stretch that into, or maybe they can use that toward the rental on their commercial space for their pub. Yeah, that's ought to help one pub pay the rent. He might as well not even have bothered. Whinging Willie. That's who he is. Whinging Willie. Oh, I think this is the end, you guys. This is the last thing I have for you. Did you guys hear that after spending almost $20 million The so-called president thought that the reflecting pond or reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial was not blue enough because it is stagnant water. It is full of algae. The water is green. It's not very nice looking up close, but from far away, it's like a mirror and it reflects the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. So Donald Trump wanted the water to look blue. He wanted the water to have a blue appearance. So they were inspired by the blue in the American flag. Guess what, you guys? It's peeling. Huge flakes, not just flakes, but it's just like someone ripped a piece of vinyl off of a reclining chair. That's how big the pieces are. It is floating to the surface. The protective paint that they put at the bottom of the reflecting pond or pool or whatever is peeling away. It was a waste of money. And of course, he did what he always does in something like this. He claimed that Barack Obama wasted money when he tried to fix the reflecting pool. Well, when Donald Trump tried to fix it, he made a bad situation even worse. Now the algae is back and the pool is peeling. The material that coats the bottom of the pool is peeling. So it is a mess. It's even worse than it was before. It gets very hot in Washington, D.C., and that water is stagnant. It doesn't flow. It's just there. So bird droppings, whatever pollution, the water is not clean. I don't believe they filter the water. So yeah, that's as good as it gets. So he just wasted about $20 million of taxpayer money to fix something that is not really broken. And he was hoping to have it ready for the 4th of July, Independence Day. But guess what? It's not going to be ready. Now, there were some guys that went out with gallons of peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. They poured that into the water. And the only place where the water looks relatively clean is where they poured the peroxide on the outer edges. But the very center of the reflecting pool is still dark green and filled with algae. So it was a waste of time. And then after they found out that it wasn't right, he got on a plane and went to Versailles and signed away his presidency. He has embarrassed himself by pretty much signing a document of surrender. He surrendered to Iran. He surrendered. Isn't that something? When he looks into the water and he looks at his reflection, what does he see? Exactly what he is. That's what he sees. He knows what he looks like. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for hey, Legs. Oh, the paint is peeling because they tried to kill the algae with peroxide. He really should do some research. Wouldn't he know about paint and oxidation. Well, yeah, I mean, whatever it is that he's doing to his hair, I'm sure that includes some kind of oxidation, and whatever he's doing to his skin, surely there's something in the family of oxidation going on. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Hazel Jones, while you're here and Legs is here, will we be able to have a members only anytime soon? I just thought about that. We need some good gossip. Yeah. Won't that be fun? We're so overdue. But if it's too soon, it's okay. It'll be worth the wait. So, whenever you're ready. But no rush, no pressure. But otherwise, you guys, I am done for tonight. And I will see you all later today or tomorrow, whichever comes first. I know. Wouldn't that be great? I tell you, whenever a Yeti sees his own reflection, then you know that there's only, I guess, about 100 days until impeachment. Yes, if a Yeti walks out the White House and goes over to the reflecting pool and see his reflection, then that means we're about 100 days away from impeachment. You guys, I'm sitting up here thinking maybe we should not see those Epstein files because it must be something horrible in there. Once we see it, we can never go back. Just remember that we can never. Okay, so when the president clump, clump, clump over to the reflecting pool, and he sees his reflection. Thank you for the super chat. Well, I tell you, that man looked very defeated today, and I'm here for it. He definitely looked defeated, deflated. And at the Palace of Versailles, another Versailles treaty bites the dust. Yep. Gosh, this is one of those days where I think about my sister. If she was still alive, she would definitely have called me to tell me, "Did you watch the Obama library?" My sister would be calling me about that. Yeah, definitely some things you know that your loved ones would you like something like that. It's just like now you don't have the chance to discuss it, which I miss that. Oh, we got a yes. All right. All right. Well, we're going to make it happen. Next time that we have the both of you here, we will just have to cut the regular Royal Sussex short and then go over and bring up a members only. That'll be so much fun. Because I want to do some gossiping. But yeah, what a great day for the Obamas. The library official opening is, it is Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, you guys. Happy Juneteenth. By the way, the lady, the last survivor of Black Wall Street, is that what they, well, anyway, the last survivor, she just passed away a couple of days ago at 104 years old. Or was she 111? Maybe she was 111. Oh, wow. Very cool. Very cool. Yes, I hear they are sold out until November. Maybe I can go for my birthday. And Stephen Colbert was wearing Barack Obama's tan suit. I did not notice that, but now that I did, that was very, very cool. What a great way to honor the president. Yeah, when I go, I'm going to take my Nikon camera. I'm going to take my Nikon so I can get some good pictures. Tom Hanks made fun of the reporter that was trying to ask him a question, and he said something about the 80 people that are watching, which is true. Some of these, well, it was MS News, I think it was. Some of these, like former, well, I guess people still have cable, but some of those cable news channels, they don't get that many viewers. They are truly competing with content creators. They are not getting moop, 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 moo and oink. Moop, 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 moo and oink. We got the baby, baby, baby. We got the baby spareback ribs. Moo and oink. Yes. Moo and oink, formerly known as the Calumet Meat Company. The Calumet Meat Company. They started calling themselves Moo and Oink. And there you can buy everything from the rooter to the tutor. Hey, cookies and cream. Yes, a great day for Chicago. Well, we got the Obama Presidential Center, but we could have had the George Lucas Art Museum. Oh my God, that was a missed opportunity. And they had the perfect place for it. Oh, why did they let that get away from us? Why did they let that get away from us? The whole town's laughing at me. Yes, they are. Silly fool. Why'd you lose such a good thing? Had the George Lucas Museum in the palm of my hand, but I lost it. But I lost it. I know. I know. There would have been lots of jobs. That museum could have been yet another reason to put Chicago on the map. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, I do apologize, but there is a subversive group known as Friends of the Park. And anytime somebody tries to build something along the lakeshore of Chicago, they go to Springfield, our state capital, and file a lawsuit against the planners and the city of Chicago. And so the George Lucas Museum was proposed for the area between the McCormick Place Convention Center and Soldier Field, where there's nothing but a parking lot right now. And unfortunately, after a lengthy court battle, they said no. So they built a museum, I think, in Los Angeles. So we did not get the George Lucas, and George Lucas has a huge art collection. And they did not want the Obama Library. They tried to fight that too. Have you noticed that tone of the World Cup places are in the Midwest except Kansas City? No, I did not know that. Let's see. Chicago didn't want the dead. They were smart to check out the last places that held the World Cup. Minneapolis said no, Detroit said no, and Kansas City is taking a chance. I had no idea. Yeah, some of those big events, they leave the cities stuck with a lot of debt and a lot of useless venues, things that will only get used once and then never again. And yeah, there are some people that are complaining about the Obama Library, saying that it's going to somehow um, be disruptive to the community. So, I'm not sure what that's all about. However, I know that there are a few people that are very vocal about it. And listen, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people that are so critical have not been paid, if they have not been paid to be so, confrontational. I would not be surprised. I mean, there are some people that are just professional disruptors. And with just about any situation, you can find someone who will be extremely critical. And of course, I hate to be morbid, but uh, chances are that someday um, that library complex will be the final resting place of the president and the first lady. So I thought about that today. Let's see. Okay. I heard that the Iranian team had to stay in Mexico. Let's see. The residents are being displaced. Gentrification. They do need to regulate. They want the Obama Center, but unfortunately, is being used as a reason to go up significantly on rent in the area. Yeah, and that's continued gentrification because I worked with someone some years ago who had an apartment there in Hyde Park, and gentrification means raise the rent. So even before the Obama Library was an idea, they were trying to get rid of anyone with subsidized housing. They wanted to get rid of the people that lived in the bigger apartments, and then they chop them up and turn them into two smaller apartments because most people don't have a lot of kids these days, so those bigger apartments in Hyde Park are perfect for conversion. So they will actually add another entrance, they'll put up a wall, and if it doesn't already have a second bathroom, they'll create a bathroom for the other part. But the bad thing is when they do that, they actually rent the apartments for more than what it cost when it was a single apartment. So, yeah, Hyde Park is a very interesting area. Hyde Park and Kenwood. The Obama's house is in Kenwood. So, years ago, there was, oh gosh, what was that guy's name? What is the name of that street over there? Cornell. Cornell was a real estate speculator, and he purchased property in the area which we call Hyde Park. And he realized that the trains were going to connect people to downtown Chicago. So at the time, Hyde Park and Hyde Park and what did I just say? Was it Kenwood? Kenwood Hyde Park? Yeah. At the time, those were suburbs. They were suburban communities. They were eventually annexed into the city to increase the size of Chicago. They would promise police protection, fire service, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what happened. And once they became incorporated into the city, they were no longer suburbs. They were part of Greater Chicago. And anyway, the name Hyde Park is taken directly from the UK because when people develop properties, they want to attract people with money. And one of the selling points is the idea that you could tell people, I live in the Hyde Park community. I live in the town of Hyde Park. So whenever you hear like fancy names of some city streets, that is quite deliberate. It may not have anything to do with the city itself or anybody who's ever lived there, but it's just a way to sell property, to promote the sale of property. So anyway, that is where that town, that neighborhood comes from. And so it is actually notable for the University of Chicago, right? So one of the top universities in the world is in that community. So the gentrification was happening even before the library, but this is going to accelerate that gentrification tenfold. The proximity to the lake, beautiful architecture. I tell you, some of the most gorgeous Muhammad Ali used to live in Hyde Park, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to live in Hyde Park. I'm trying to think who else. But anyway, that is the area adjacent to Jackson Park where the museum is located, or the library is located. So yes, there's going to be a lot of people displaced, which again, it was going to happen anyway, but now that much faster. I've never been to any of the presidential libraries. I would like to go to the Kennedy Library. I don't know, but I'm betting he probably did. Oh, you know what? I got something that would be interesting for you guys if I can find it. Give me a chance to look for it just now. There is a house in the Bronzeville community. And, I was talking about the old mansions the other day. Well, this house has been restored. And so much of this house is original from 1883. So let me see if I could find that, and I will share it with you. But it is definitely a Gilded Age mansion. Oh, I found it. I found it. I got it. Oh, baby, I got it. Here's a mansion that you can watch. All right, let me pin that one. There you go. Yes, the place has been restored and it is beautiful. Okay, so Reagan in Nixon in California. Carter is in Atlanta. Okay, and Clinton's is in Arkansas, right? Little Rock or something like that. I didn't know Carter's was in Atlanta. I guess he couldn't get people to come out to his property, so that makes sense. And Nixon, isn't that Loma Linda? Wasn't he from Loma Linda or something like that? Now I want to go to a library. This one, right? Look back at that one. Or, oh, Herbert Hoover is in Iowa off I-80. Eisenhower is in Kansas off of I-70. And Roosevelt is in New York City. And Kennedy is in Boston. Okay. And Dallas, and Lyndon Johnson is in Austin. Interesting. So I can just get on the I-35 and hit all of those places, huh? Well, some of those places. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, we don't have any place that big in Chicago. We do not have a big stadium like that, which is why they probably will never have the Super Bowl here. That, and of course, the weather. Oh, wow. Where do people get this money from? And can I have some of it? Really? Well, I'm going to have to make a mental note next time I travel and see if there's not a library that I can visit on the way or while I'm there. How exciting. Well, there's yeah, I'm still thinking about people being displaced. I didn't know it was that severe. And I do not like short-term rentals. I don't like the concept of Airbnb and all that stuff. I don't like it because people are what make a community what it is, not buildings, but people. And I think it's horrible to displace people and put all those Airbnb. I mean, where are people going to live? Where are people? When you displace a family from a community, especially if the jobs are in the city and people are forced to move further and further, either close to the suburbs or in the suburbs, then that means people are taking these horrible commutes and they're not, getting any richer doing that. What they're doing is they're spending like up to 4 hours of their life every day commuting. That is insane. There are people who spend about 4 hours every day commuting. When they could just be one bus ride away if they could stay in the city. So yeah, I do not. I've never, let me see. I think I did. Actually, I've never done an Airbnb. I almost did, but it did not work out. It did not work out. It was actually more like a hostel situation. I had a private room, but it was a shared apartment. But I don't think I will ever do an Airbnb if I can help it. Yeah. Nowadays, they're costing as much as a hotel and they expect you to do housework. You know, if you have a big family or if you're traveling with a lot of people, it can be a bargain to stay in a house somewhere. But for the average traveler, you just as well to stay at a hotel. I mean, look at what they're doing to Barcelona. Now, I stayed at a hostel in Barcelona, right? And that was before people were confronting tourists. But Barcelona is a beautiful city. It's a real city. People live, work, and play there. And it'd be a shame if young people trying to get onto the housing market can't find a place to live because it's an Airbnb. I don't like that. At least with a hostel, you can, you could have 20 people staying at a hostel, and the hostel may be the size of like one large apartment or in a commercial space. But Airbnb, you're literally taking apartment units and houses off of the market. And I saw this one lady that was looking for a place to live. There were only two listings available in that area. And then when she went to Airbnb, there were maybe 50 possibilities in that area. 50 housing units or more, I don't remember the exact number, that could have been available for families to rent, for an individual to rent. And now they're off the market. I don't like that. I'd rather pay more to stay at a hotel than to take an apartment off of the market. No offense to those of you that have used Airbnb, but I just want you to consider that. Let's see. We have had everything from casino hotels on the harbor to an Airbnb in the mountains near the hiking trail. Oh, I bet that was nice. Well, the solution is just build more affordable housing. That's what we need is more affordable housing. Like right now, I'm very secure where I live right now, but because I care about people, it just, I think about people who, like when I was young and I wanted a place of my own, it was so easy, right? And I couldn't imagine being a young person now, underpaid and having to get another job just to pay the rent. That would be a nightmare. I hope it pass. I hope it pass. Limit the percentage of homes in the neighborhood that can be used as short-term rentals. I hope that law passes. People need a place to live. Neighborhoods need families. They have just about decimated Venice. If you want to go to the bakery, it's a gift shop. If you want to go to that little market, it's a gift shop. Because of the, tourism, a lot of these places have shut down. And if they're not a gift shop, it's an Airbnb. Families, and families wanted to keep it until they retired. I guess I shouldn't be so narrow-minded, because for some people it is an income. It is an income. And you can definitely make more money. But I would hate to see a whole community turn into Airbnbs. So now I'm starting to think, I don't hate the idea that the Obama library is there, obviously, but I don't like to hear that people are losing their homes. Hyde Park is a very special place. But I tell you, it's white people that live all the way up to like 67th Street. There was a time when that neighborhood was all African American. You wouldn't find any white people around there. But per gentrification, now there's some everybody living over there. I didn't think I'd live to see it. The thing about it is, okay, you always hear people say that the South Side is like such a horrible place. Well, sure enough, there are some places that are not the nicest places to be. However, there are thousands of people that live in areas that doesn't look any different from the north side of the city. People who care about their homes, people who work every day, people that are retired and, got a good pension and all that kind of stuff. They don't talk about that on the news, but there are some very posh people on the South Side. And you can get a house, and sometimes the house is like half the price of what you would pay on the north side of the city, especially Lincoln Park. Very expensive. You can buy a mansion just like the one that I showed you in the video I shared. You can buy a place like that on the South Side, a great fixer-upper, still got most of the original woodwork and everything, pocket doors and all, and you would pay a fraction of the price of what you would pay on the north side of Chicago, which is why a lot of professionals have moved to that community. So they have been, as I said, they have been gentrifying the area, but now it's like adding kerosene to it. It's really going to take off. Okay. I'm starting to lose my voice, so I think I better go now. It's a bit dry in here. I got my air conditioner on, of course, but I will talk to you guys later. Cheers, and pray for the Sussexes that they make the right decision. Also, pray for everyone recovering from illness or surgery. Pray for all the squatties that are going through difficulties and such. Well, that video I just shared, the person who purchased the house found out that Martin Luther King was a frequent visitor to the house. The house had belonged to someone who was like a civil rights person or whatever. And Ida B. Wells lived in that area. A whole bunch of famous people lived in that area. So the guy that purchased this house, I mean, the renovation is incredible. So you guys, the link I shared, go ahead and click on that now so you won't have to look for it later, because I'm going to say farewell. So again, go ahead and click on that link I shared so you can see this miraculous renovation. Okay? All right. Cheers. Love you guys. I will see you next time.